Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About. And in this episode we're talking about SCP-982, otherwise known as the Chicago Loop. I picked this article because I am from Chicago, and the Chicago Loop is a real thing. It's an area in the city of Chicago with the L train going around it. That's called the Loop. And this SCP is called Chicago Loop, so I'm curious what that means. The object class is safe, meaning it's relatively easy to contain or poses little to no threat. There is no picture for this one. I don't even know what it would entail. So, unless it's saying the entirety of the Chicago Loop is an SCP, I'm gonna be pretty surprised. Special containment procedures are SCP-982 is to be kept in a negative pressure climate-controlled facility and must remain closed and bolted except during approved exploration. A perpetual chronometer is to be mounted on the wall alongside SCP-982, counting down an interval of 26 hours and 15 minutes. SCP-982 must be closed no later than at 0 hours 1 minute 30 seconds, regardless of whether all exploration teams have emerged. All exploration teams must receive dialect coaching and full-spectrum vaccinations before entering SCP-982 and undergo decontamination upon emerging. Items extracted from SCP-982 are to be considered potential biohazards and contained as such. Oh my god. So, the containment procedures were all a bunch of short paragraphs, like one-sentence things that I put all into one. So that's all the containment procedures. What the I don't understand what this thing is. It's kept in a negative pressure climate controlled facility. That is so many words for just saying keep it contained and under lock and key. It must remain closed and bolted shut unless there's an approved exploration. I struggle with that word, apparently. So this thing, is it like a portal to somewhere? Are you saying the loop is a portal? Like the L can go around and around faster and faster and it opens a portal to another universe? I don't think that's the case, but it's called the Chicago Loop. As to what SCP-982 is, it is an antique casement window recovered from a Marshall Carter and Dark auction, and originally taken from the abandoned business offices of Redacted, a 19th century patent attorney in Chicago, Illinois. No matter where it is mounted, SCP-982 opens onto the street outside Redacted's third-story office, as it was between 8:30 a.m. on Friday, March 26, 1875, and 10:45 a.m. on Saturday, March 27, 1875. Personnel exiting from this window find themselves in what is apparently 1875 Chicago. However, at the end of the 26-hour interval, the city resets. Any external objects or personnel within the city at that time are lost. It's a time loop. It's a window that leads to 1875. It's a time loop. So 26 hours is the time limit here. I was curious about when the exact date of the Chicago fire, for those of you who don't know what that is, the entire city almost burned down in 1871. This time loop is in 1875. Pretty strange date. Very close to my birthday. It's not my birthday, it's very close to that. But the Chicago fire did not happen at that date. I thought it might have been related to that. It's not. I don't know what would have happened in 1875. What I do know is that this window, no matter where it is mounted, will put you out on the exact same street. And once you enter, you have 26 hours. And after that, it resets. And if you're still in there, you just vanish from existence. You get reset, erased, whatever have you. That's kind of terrifying. Because it's a window, so not many people are going through windows. But this thing, it says no matter where it is mounted, and it must remain closed. Continuing on. The size of the area accessible via SCP-982 is not known. Exploration teams have been able to send telegrams to Redacted in England and receive responses. It's like time travel. I'm trying to wrap my head around that. That sentence really scrambled my insides. It's backwards in time, clearly. 1875 is not close to this year at all. And then from that point, you're able to send telegrams, communicate, interact with the world at that point, and then it resets. Time loop resets. How do you get a telegram back that fast? Whatever, I don't know. But this time loop, something must have happened there. And for some reason, this window sends you back there, maybe to deal with the time loop, or maybe to trap you in it. Either it gets more powerful, or it's trying to get you to solve it. Because that's typically what a time loop is. There's something going on. Like, there are lots of movies based on time loops. One of them, I can't even remember the name, but it's like a nuclear bomb drops at the end of it, and then the time loop resets to like 3 days ago. There you go, that's a good example. Zelda, Majora's Mask, that's a time loop. It's every 3 days. That game takes place over the span of 3 days, from, if I'm correct in that. And then from that point, it resets. You do the game, it's 3 days, it resets. You do the game, it's 3 days, you reset. The moon crashes into the planet. That's what Zelda's Majora's Mask is. Maybe it's something like that, where you have to figure out a way to stop it. Like, there's something causing this time loop, you figure out a way to stop it, and then from that point, it'll cease, and then you'll disappear, because the time loop will cease, and you'll be stuck in 1875. Exiting 1875 must be done by climbing back through SCP-982 from the outside. Attempts to access SCP-982 from within the offices of Redacted reveal only an ordinary window. Exploration teams are advised that the Chicago police in 1875 react with hostility towards the use of grappling guns and rope ladders to re-enter SCP-982, since all changes are eliminated at the reset. The use of lethal force is fully sanctioned, with no risk to the timeline. So you could kill, and a person will just come back. And since you are the anomaly, it's essentially in the time loop. The time loop is an anomaly, but if you're in there, you are an anomaly in that time loop. And then from that point, you could kill and it'll reset, and it'll be like he's still alive, and he could live to the end of the time loop and then reset again, because you are the anomaly. You are what's not belonging. That's how a time loop works. Unless I am completely crazy. As a result of Incident 982-215/74, an altercation with Chicago police officers Redacted and Redacted, SCP-982 has been found to be bulletproof on the 1875 side. The use of SCP-982 as a source of D-Class personnel is depreciated due to the possibility of cross-SCP contamination. Oh my god. That's a problem. Oh my god, oh my god. That's terrifying. That's a horrible thought. If you haven't pieced it together, it's a time loop going back in time, but you could come back out with stuff. You could copy SCPs. Imagine having the same SCP twice in the same universe. That might cause the universe to implode, but I'm willing to take that risk, because that would be awfully horrifying. There's a little bit left. There's 2 paragraphs, actually. Thus far, all attempts to locate Redacted, either alive or dead, have failed. Other occupants of that building report last seeing Redacted in the afternoon of Thursday, March 25th, 1875. Beggars and street vendors report not having noticed him leave the premises. His neighbors did not see him return home on the evening of the 25th, nor did they see him leave his home on the morning of the 26th. So maybe that's what's causing the time loop. It's this guy died or became the window, like his soul infused with the window, and that's kind of a gateway, a portal to get there. And obviously this isn't real, but if that is the case, maybe that's it. Like, his soul is trapped in the window, and it's a portal back there because he wasn't seen. Maybe he died, and it's causing some anomalous thing, like ghost spectral type stuff, to happen to the window, and that makes it a portal back to his time. After, of course, the death. Meaning, if that is the case, there's no way of solving it. So that sucks. The last paragraph reads, his secretary reports that the last client of the day on Thursday was a peculiar unwashed man with some odd accent that sounded Polish, but is unable to provide a more detailed description. The client had arrived without an appointment or a visiting card. Exploration missions, which begin after SCP-982's internal chronology has reached Friday evening reports that Redacted does not show up for work on Friday, nor does he return to his home. And that is the entire article. So I'm willing to bet that this guy died. That man killed him, or did something to him to make him this temporal anomaly, this kind of portal to this loop. So the Chicago loop is not the SCP, it is a loop from a window, a time loop in Chicago. Very misleading. But I picked this article because it said Chicago Loop, and I'm like, hey, I know that place. That's 14 minutes from my house. It's not, but it's close. This guy died. I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet a lot that this guy, this lawyer, died. And because of that, this window became a portal to his time. My only question is, what can you bring back? Because back then, that was before, like, a lot of vaccines, so, like, diseases are pretty rampant. Streets aren't exactly clean. I'm willing to bet they're still recovering from the Chicago fire, because that's only a 4-year gap. I don't know how long it takes to rebuild the city. I'm guessing more than 4 years. I'm not really brushed up on my Chicago fire lore. It's just interesting that this window leads to that very specific point in time. For what reason? I do not know. But with that being said, I'm going to leave this episode here. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for the channel support and growth recently. I am so happy that the channel has grown to the size it is. 100 may not seem like a lot to you, but to me, whoa, that's a lot of people. Imagine 100 people in a room. That's about the same thing. But yeah, thank you all so much. If you have any other SCPs you want me to go through, just leave a comment and I'll be sure to get to it. And yeah, thank you all so much, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!